Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. As I record this video, the crypto market's down a little bit, nothing insane, though I do want to touch on that towards the beginning part of the video. But even so, the opportunity is just getting bigger, and it's from the perspective of pretty much every analyst that I follow, it's just day by day becoming that much more clear that we are about to go on an absolute rampage, and I firmly believe that XRP is going to be the darling of this crypto cycle. It is the #1 performing coin since the election, and I think by the time this is done, we're going to look back and see that either XRP period was the top performer out of the top 100, or it's going to be pretty damn close. That would certainly be my expectation. But one analyst says, hey, the bomb just got bigger, and he's talking specifically about the parameters that are going to set all of this in motion. Because frankly, Bitcoin dominance is going to tank, altcoins are going to take off, and then XRP is just going to be the star of the show. This will become the XRP show. Mark my words on that. But before going further, I do want to be clear. I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. Now, as I record this video, it is 4:55 a.m. Central Time, Thursday, June 12th, 2025. XRP is down to $2.24. Bitcoin's at 107,499 bucks. Charts look fairly similar for XRP and Bitcoin. They're just moving in tandem right now. There's nothing scary or particularly weird right here. We're still ranging, but I'm still, like, every single day, I'm just in awe seeing XRP continue to safely consolidate above $2 ever since it hit the all-time high. There was only one or two slight deviations where for a very short moment in time when the entire crypto market was scared, XRP cratered to the downside. I think it got as low for a brief moment in time as like $1.61, somewhere there about. And that was it. Other than that, it's just been safely living above $2. Like, that's the normal price. Do you remember years ago, for those of you that have been around for a while, remember years ago, like several years ago, actually, gosh, more than that even, I was actually thinking about fall of 2020, so almost 5 years ago. Remember how the regular price, it was around like 20-something cents, and it was just fluctuating, and it felt like it was going to be there forever. It'd be like, 22 cents, 25 cents, 20 cents, 27 cents, 23 cents, and it's just living there for months, it seems like, right? And that was the normal price. Well, I'm guessing we're never going to see the prices that low ever again. I think that's done, and it's just so interesting to see like we've lived through that time, many of us anyway, I have, where that was the normal price, and now the normal price is safely above $2. It doesn't mean it can't for some period of time dip a little bit below that, and some analysts do still warn like it's at least possible we could do that. That would be normal for situations similar to this. But either way, the market's decided this is just the new normal price for XRP, and think about it. It's at that price while there is no exuberance in the market. There's no excitement in the market. I mean, except for like me and maybe some of you guys, because we get what's about to happen, so fine, maybe we're excited. But just broadly speaking, market participants, are they excited? No. And the price is still there? You used to only see prices like this for XRP flash in the pan stuff at the peak of market cycles. And here, it's just like, nah, this is just the new price now. You'd love to see it. Here's a post from the blockchain backer yesterday morning. CPI beats expectations. Month over month, 0.1% versus 0.2% expectation. Year over year, 2.4% versus 2.5% expectation. So initially, the market was pretty happy about that. And to anybody that was of the mindset that all of the tariff stuff was going to prevent something like this from being reality, well, you're certainly been incorrect to that point. But a lot of pundits out there were saying with all the stuff that's happening, the way that Trump's approaching tariffs, this and that, we just decimate the landscape here in terms of CPI. At least to this point, it ain't happened. Although something did happen here. Look at this headline from NBC News. Israel considering military strike on Iran, sources say. And I'm not going to have commentary on that specific topic because that's not what this channel is for. But some believe that has impacted markets, let's say. Some are saying that's the reason that Bitcoin and the rest of the crypto asset class went down just a little bit here. And there could be some truth to that. I do believe that most of the time when there are movements, something happens because it's just it's just regular speculation. Then whatever is happening in the moment, that gets tacked on as the reason. But sometimes real world events actually do move markets. I acknowledge that. And so here's a post from chart analyst Jelly. It says, nothing like a little war rumor to push down the coins. Bitcoin back below $108,000. Time to form a higher low and try again. Matter of time until price discovery. And so he posted that at 12:27 a.m. So not long ago, about 4.5 hours ago. And then I want to share this one too. We followed up with this because it's just like people think that real world actions have a way bigger impact on what happens in markets than they actually do. That's just the truth, right? And so take a look at this to add some perspective. This is another one from Jelly. He says, Bitcoin rallied from sub $20,000 to $100,000 during Russia, Ukraine, and Israel, Palestine. But Jimmy on crypto Twitter believes that some Iran tension will nuke Bitcoin to zero. Okay. Yeah, spoiler alert, it won't. It absolutely won't. And even when markets do genuinely respond to scary sounding news, it's just a flash in the pan thing. Same, it happened during COVID. It happened with the tariff announcements in early April, and look what's happened since. Market sure as hell has bounced back. Here's a post from chart analyst Crypto Wizard. This is the market cap Bitcoin dominance percentage chart. And he wrote, another confluence. The bomb just got bigger. It's ticking. Just as everything had aligned, another bearish signal emerges. A rising wedge has formed. A breakout should send Bitcoin dominance much lower. You know what that means for alts. And yes, absolutely I know what that means for alts. And as he posted this on Wednesday, Bitcoin dominance was a little bit shy of 64%. It's not going to stay up here, folks. So structurally, he's arguing, guys, this is what happens right before it craters to the downside. So it's more confluence. It really is more confluence. Like he said here, another confluence. Yes, that is correct. And you do know what happens for alts. They go ballistic. Dominance percentage increases for alts. And so the price of Bitcoin can, and I expect will go up, but eventually people are going to be taking some profit and rotating that into large caps to try and multiply their profits. That's what happens every single cycle. We are not there. We're not in euphoria. That's very obvious, isn't it? You know, people aren't doing a bunch of internet searches for crypto, Bitcoin, XRP. We're at some lows right now. And I'll probably pull that up in a separate video. I don't have it lined up for this, but I'm just saying, it's very obvious. Anyway, slice and dice this. The conditions we're having right now are exactly what you would want and expect right before you go on an absolute rampage. That's where we're living right now, which is why I look at this and I couldn't possibly be more excited. But I mean, I guess wait until it gets going, and then I'll be more excited. But I'm just saying, for this moment, I don't know how I could possibly be more excited. Here's a post from chart analyst Rect Capital. More confluence here. This is the market cap Ethereum dominance percentage chart. Remember when Ethereum was dead a month ago and 2 months ago? That's what they were saying, right? And I insisted, no, it's not. That's stupid. The price is just moving. That happens. It's going to bottom out around here somewhere, and then it's just going to rip to the upside. Remember that? And then after I said that, the price of Ethereum basically doubled. Remember that? It's just common sense stuff here as far as I'm concerned. Like this is always what happens. Oh, it's dead because the price is low. No, that's not. Price in and of itself does not mean that a thing is dead. Okay? If the fundamentals haven't shifted and the expectations, market-wide for the asset class haven't shifted, then if a price is lower, you know what that means. It's undervalued. And then markets figure that out and correct. So it was undervalued. And it doubled just about. And it ain't done, folks. So anyway, Rec Capital wrote, Ethereum dominance. Ethereum dominance has reached 10% market dominance in an uptrend for the first time since March 2020. Well, folks, that is music to my ears. And look, it was down as low as like 7% just a month or two ago. Now it's above 10%. But it's going to rip. It's going to go way higher than that. I don't know where it's going to peak, and I don't make predictions along those lines anyway, but higher. And the reason I'm sharing this, even if you don't hold ETH, that's fine. If you're not excited about it, that's fine. But it does, historically it has, the last couple cycles, kicked off alt season. So I love seeing it do this. And so even if in the short term it outperforms XRP, which is possible, by the time the cycle's over, it's going to be very clear that Ethereum is XRP's little bitch. It is its tiny little baby boo bitch. That's exactly what will be proven by the end of this. Here's a post from chart analyst Mikey Bull Crypto, ETHUSD chart here. He says, honestly, Ethereum looking solid here technically. Next resistance to clear out before major all-time high will be $3,900. Ethereum usually performs well near the peak of the cycle. Okay, that's certainly true. Think about 2017 in particular. It was at the end of the cycle, Ethereum started running about the same time as XRP, and XRP did take that number 2 market cap. So if we see something like that again, and not that Ethereum would peak here at $3,900, and that's not what he's saying, but even at that level, if XRP competes with Ethereum's market cap, that price level would get XRP close to $8. Even just that, if it's going to compete. So when the euphoria comes back, and we're in that brief moment in time where it's impossible to buy something that doesn't appreciate substantially in value in short order. I mean, when that comes, XRP is going to be the greatest beneficiary of that out of large caps, I would expect, or close to it. It's been so trampled. All this artificial price suppression because of the government. The market's making up for that, folks. It already started to by being the best performer since November in the top 100. It ain't done, though. It just isn't done. XRP's got more ground to make up here, folks. It just does. Here's a post from the great Matsby, also talking about Ethereum. Ethereum has broken out and is undergoing a backtest. Perfect setup for a continued move higher after this consolidation period. Well, I don't doubt it. And he's, to his credit, one of the many analysts I follow that accurately called XRP breaking out this cycle. And he says it goes higher. Not just that, actually. Take a look at this post, too. He reposted that. And he said, in fact, many altcoins have a similar look to Ethereum right now. Well, yeah, they do. He's right. And the asset class moves in tandem. They're getting treated about the same. Everything is primed. Do you see the confluence? This is why you should be really excited if you're an XRP holder. Everything's lining up the way you would want and expect it to if this thing's really going to happen. It really does look like, yes, it's really going to happen. And based on historic precedent, on top of that, yes, we should be expecting it. So let's talk about XRP specifically. Here's a post from chart analyst Javon Marks, another guy who accurately called XRP breaking out this market cycle, to his credit. XRP USD chart on screen here, and he says, support looks to have been set on XRP. Next level that can be pushed, $9.63 in a greater than 305% bullish move. Well, yeah, I can buy that, and I'm never going to make a price prediction. I'd feel comfortable talking about what I think could happen, but it doesn't mean it will, and I admit that. I'm comfortable doing that, and this is very safely within the confines of reality. I firmly believe that. In fact, you know what normally happens? You know what's happened in each of the last two market cycles for XRP, even last cycle when XRP didn't hit a new all-time high because of the artificial price suppression because of the government. So XRP had two major price bursts, right? And the first one was impressive in each of those cycles. The second one, much more impressive in terms of dollar increase. So the greatest percentage increase is typically the first pump. But then if you look at from the beginning of that first pump to the end of the second pump, then that's where it gets real wild. So it depends on where you're measuring from. But yeah, normally in terms of ROI, the first pump's more impressive. But in terms of dollars, it dwarfs the first pump. So you can think, for instance, like 2017, XRP was half a penny. Then it went up during its first pump to like 42 cents, and then it went back down and consolidated mostly around 20 cents for half a year. Okay. And so now instead of consolidating at 20 cents, it's consolidating at $2 this cycle. But anyway, I'm just saying. So anyway, so just like it had that massive increase, half a penny to 42 cents for that first burst. Well, it then went from about 20 cents up to, $3.35. Well, that's a way bigger increase in terms of dollars. So if you're there for the whole ride, as if you're excited about that first pump, it's about to get way, way more wild for you if history is to rhyme with itself. So that's why, knowing that XRP in the first jump went up to $3.40 this cycle, the idea of it doing, twice that, three times that for the second pump, not crazy. So that's why when he says here $9.63, not that he thinks that would necessarily be the peak. He thinks it's going to go higher, actually. But that's not crazy. That's conservative, and that would already be wildly life-changing. That's why this is so damn exciting. Like, that's what's in the cards for us in the future. Like, it's coming. Here's a post from chart analyst Steph is Crypto, another guy who accurately called out XRP breaking upward this market cycle. And I haven't seen a post from him quite like this. He says, my XRP bull run price targets. Okay. And I've seen him cite what he thinks is likely to occur before. And frequently he'll share posts sharing expectations of XRP getting above, like a little above like $30. And maybe that happens. Like, I acknowledge that could happen. I'm not wildly optimistic XRP is going to go that high, but even someone who's more conservative minded like me, even I will say, okay, if the whole crypto world goes even more nuts than what most people are thinking, sure. I'm not going to say it's literally impossible. I'm just not necessarily counting on it going that high this cycle. But he seems to think that would be rather optimistic as it turns out. So I hadn't seen him listed like this. So here he's saying a conservative target would be $5.34. That would be a disappointing, honestly, I would be disappointed if that's all we get, because that's not even a twofold increase from the all-time high from 2018. It's not even twofold increase. Like, We can't even get a twofold? Come on. And Ethereum's doing, Ethereum did? Like, think about that. Ethereum actually, it did more than a 3x from the 2017 bull run to the one in 2021. Ethereum from all-time high to all-time high, it had more than a threefold increase from like, and I don't remember exactly what it was, but maybe it was like $1,500 to something like $4,800-$4,900. So what you're telling me, XRP consolidated even longer and we can't get a freaking twofold? Yeah, right. I do not buy that. I mean, I acknowledge fine, it's possible, and I admit I don't know what's going to happen, which is why I'm not in the price prediction game. But if you're telling me what my gut says, that would surprise me. Admittedly, like that would surprise me, right? But here he cited a realistic target as $11.22. Now that's more in the range of something that's much closer, like what the blockchain backer has to say. And there are a bunch of analysts that I follow that say that. I think Charting Guy was talking about something close to that. Chart analyst down. Maybe they were both talking about on the upper end closer to $10. And maybe those guys are right. Like they absolutely could be right, and all the credit in the world if they are. But here he's citing his higher targets as optimistic. Not realistic, but optimistic. So he's got a target at $23 and a target at $37 and change. So it turns out, it looks like, because, and I didn't think this is how he'd list it, because he's normally talking about over $30 XRP. It turns out he thinks that something much more conservative, he tells us realistic, but like $11, he seems to think that's more probable, which I can respect. That's totally fine. In fact, that's closer to how my mind works. Whether it's 11 or it's $15 or 16, like anywhere around there it sounds really reasonable. With my caveat again being, if the market goes berserk and say Bitcoin like just plows through $200,000, like $250,000, not that I'm expecting that, but if it does that, okay, there's gonna be so much damn money in the space. Then yeah, when you're talking about $30 XRP, I'm like, yeah, okay. At that point, it'd be like, how does it not happen? So Bitcoin goes that high, but XRP, which has been suppressed all this time, it doesn't. Here's a post from chart analyst Crypto Insight UK, XRP USD chart on the screen here, and he says XRP looks interesting, and in particular here, I just noticed the RSI looks like it's poking above its moving average here. Historically, a rather good sign, let's say. In fact, you can see what happened in November last time this happened. Look at this. Last time it happened before major. Look at that. It just rocketed. So looks interesting. Yes, it does. And then he shared this chart. This is an XRP BTC chart. Also thinking that looks rather optimistic. And he also shared an XRP dominance percentage chart here, which I think is just going to rip. I mean, it's at 4% when he posted this, which was that was just on Wednesday. And that's why, and he's pointing here upwards of like 14 to 20%. Somewhere, if it peaks out somewhere in there, that won't surprise me. That would not surprise me at all. So even at the current market cap, you're already looking at the price doing a 3 to 4x from here. But if the crypto market cap gets, say doubles in size, well, then getting 14% of double the size it currently is, that's a lot more. So maybe that would be, so then it could be like what, a 6 to 8 fold increase from here if something like that happens. So like you can get up there quick. It really depends on how much money starts flowing in. Here's the thing. Here's a post from chart analyst Dark Defender. Hi all, XRP is on the verge of a breakout in the daily time frame. We will see great moves above $2.33 candle closes. RSI is bullish, check. Exponential moving averages are bullish, check. Ichimoku clouds expected to turn bullish, blue check. We are ready for it. So he's optimistic. Yeah, this is indeed a coming here. And he seems to have also noticed what Crypto Insight UK was highlighting, which is that on the RSI Relative Strength Index has poked above its moving average. So again, take it for what it's worth. And then there is this one. I just like this post. This is from chart analyst Bobby A. He simply wrote, XRP will soon go full-blown Cindy McSenderson. That's right. Cindy McSenderson's coming. And yet another analyst who accurately called XRP breaking to the upside. So it is possible in the short term. Yeah, you could see things tank to the downside, but even if it does, that's just going to be a temporary thing. It'll just be a little deviation, a little bit stop, and then we're going to continue to the upside if history is to rhyme with itself. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo!